Listen carefully, because 6 words in this episode might have just exposed the biggest lie in the entire show. Did you see her body? That's it. That's the line. Soldier Boy looks Homelander dead in the eye and asks one simple question, and suddenly, everything we thought we knew about Stormfront's death starts falling apart. Because here's the problem. In a show that shows everything, every brutal death, every disgusting detail, they chose not to show hers. No body, no death scene, just a story. And Soldier Boy didn't believe it for a second. So the real question is, did the show just hide Stormfront in plain sight? Because once you start pulling on this thread, it doesn't stop. The line that changes everything. Let's break that moment down properly, because most people completely missed why it matters. Homelander brings up Stormfront, casual, like it's old news. Soldier Boy plays it off at first, makes it sound like she didn't mean anything. But that's just him deflecting. That's what he does when something actually matters. Then he asks where she is. Homelander says she's dead, says she killed herself. Bit off her own tongue, bled out, and right there instantly, Soldier Boy doesn't react with shock or sadness. He reacts with doubt. No pause, no emotion, just one question. Did you see her body? That is not a random line. That is someone who knows the person they're talking about and knows that story doesn't add up. And what makes it worse? Homelander doesn't answer. He just walks away. No confirmation, no denial, nothing. That silence is not accidental. In this show, silence usually means one thing. Something is being hidden. Why Soldier Boy doesn't buy it? Here's what most people aren't thinking about. Soldier Boy isn't guessing. He knew her. Not as Stormfront, but as Liberty. That changes everything. This isn't just some random Supe to him. This is someone he's known since the early days. Someone he's seen up close. Someone he understands at a level almost nobody else does. And if there's one thing that defines her, it's survival. Stormfront didn't just live through decades, she adapted through them. Changed identities, moved through time without being exposed. Built herself into something stronger every time. That kind of person doesn't just give up. Not like that. Not off screen. Not quietly. And Soldier Boy knows it. That's why his reaction matters more than anyone else's in the show. Because he's not reacting to what Homelander said. He's reacting to what he knows is possible. And to him, that version of her death doesn't make sense. The suicide doesn't add up. Let's go back to what we were actually told. Stormfront survives Ryan's heat vision, and not just barely. She's burned, mutilated, missing limbs, but she's alive. That alone should have told you something was different about her. Then suddenly, in the next season, we get a throwaway update. She bit off her own tongue and died. That's it. No scene, no build-up, no confirmation, just a report. And this is where the logic breaks. Because this is the same show that showed a man exploding from the inside. The same show that doesn't hesitate to show the most disturbing deaths imaginable. But this one, they skipped it. That's not a creative choice. That's a deliberate omission. Because if Stormfront actually died, they would have shown it. Instead, they gave you a second-hand explanation delivered by a company that lies for a living. And that's where things start to look less like a death and more like a cover story. The cover-up. Now think about the situation from her perspective. Homelander rejected her completely, not just personally, ideologically. Everything she believed in, everything she was building. He shut it down and made it clear he didn't need her. So now she's broken, exposed, and no longer useful to the most powerful man on the planet. What does someone like Stormfront do in that position? She disappears. Because disappearing does two things. It protects her, and it makes everyone else stop looking. Now I'd bought into this. A company built on controlling narratives. You really think they would publicly deal with a half-dead, controversial Supe tied to their darkest history? Or would they quietly close the file, announce a death, and move on? Ashley delivers the news like it's paperwork. No emotion, no detail, just information. That's not how you report something important. That's how you repeat a prepared story. So now you've got a death with no body, a report from a company that lies, and a character who refuses to believe it. At this point, calling it suspicious is being generous. Why she should still be alive. Now here's where the theory stops being just suspicion and starts making sense. Because this season quietly introduced something critical. The original Compound V, not the watered-down version. The first version, stronger, more complete, more unstable, and the key difference, regeneration. Look at Soldier Boy. This is a man who has been tortured, experimented on, pushed past human limits over and over again. And he just keeps coming back. That's not durability, that's recovery. Now apply that to Stormfront. She was one of the earliest subjects. She didn't get the modern version, she got the original. Which means her body isn't just strong, it's built to repair itself. So let's be real for a second. She survives full body destruction from heat vision, but dies from biting her tongue. That doesn't line up. Even if she did it, even if the story is partially true, her body should have been able to recover. Which means either she didn't die, or someone wants you to believe she did. Bombsite, the missing link. Now this is where things connect in a way most people aren't paying attention to. Bombsite, at first glance, he just looks like another addition to the expanding universe. But look closer, he's tied to the earliest days of Compound V, which means he comes from the same era as Stormfront, back when she was Liberty. That's not a coincidence, that's a connection. And here's where it gets interesting. There are strong hints that Bombsite is involved in recovering or stealing remaining doses of the original Compound V. Not the new version, the old one, the powerful one. Now ask yourself, who would need that? Not someone trying to become powerful, but someone trying to recover. Someone damaged, someone healing, someone who needs to accelerate that process. If Stormfront is alive and still rebuilding, then V1 isn't just useful, it's essential. And Bombsite, he's exactly the kind of character who would help make that happen. Someone loyal to the original vision. Someone who remembers who she was before the world knew her name. This isn't random world building. This looks like setup. The zombie Supe possibility. Survival doesn't always mean recovery. In the comics, there's an idea that rarely gets discussed: what happens when a Supe heals, but the damage is too severe. The body repairs itself, but not perfectly. You don't get the same person back. Just something in between. Not dead, not fully restored. Functioning. Now think about Stormfront, burned, broken. If her body is regenerating from that state, what comes back? Which is why Huey's Last of Us reference matters. In a show like this, those details aren't random. The idea tracks, not mindless, but altered. Still intelligent, still dangerous, just not what she was. If that's where this is going, her return isn't a comeback, it's a transformation. What her final words really mean. Now here's the part that changes how you look at everything. Her final scene. Most people remember the visuals. Hardly anyone remembers what she actually said, because it sounded like nonsense. But it wasn't. It was German. And when it was translated, it told a completely different story. She wasn't rambling. She was remembering. A quiet moment, a peaceful memory, sitting under a tree with Friedrich Vaught and her daughter. That's where her mind went. Not to defeat, not to fear, back to the origin, back to the reason she started all of this. That matters, because those aren't the thoughts of someone giving up. That's someone holding on to purpose, someone reminding themselves what they're fighting for. And people like that don't just let go. Where this is going. So where does all of this lead? To possibilities. First, she comes back this season, fully healed, or at least functional, with a completely new plan. And if that happens, everything changes. Because now you're adding her back into a situation that is already unstable. Soldier Boy, Homelander, power struggles everywhere. She doesn't just return, she disrupts everything. Second possibility, they're saving her, holding her back for something bigger. A future reveal, a different timeline, a controlled comeback. And honestly, that might be even more dangerous. Because that means they're building towards something, not just teasing it. Either way, this doesn't feel like the end of her story. It feels like a pause. So let's put it all together. No body, no confirmed death, a suspicious report, a character who doesn't believe it, a physiology that supports survival, a new player connected to her past, and final words that sound like a vow, not a goodbye. At some point, it stops being coincidence and starts looking like a setup. I'm not saying it's confirmed, but I am saying this. If she comes back, everything we're watching right now changes instantly. So now, I want your take. Do you think Stormfront is alive? Is she hiding, healing, waiting? Or is this all just a perfect misdirection? Drop your theory in the comments. If you made it this far, hit like. It tells the algorithm this is worth pushing. And if you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe. Because if this theory is right, we're not even close to the biggest reveal yet.